Bienvenidos and welcome. I'm Jake Garcia. Over the next half hour, we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month as we share the stories from our local community in both English and Spanish. Labels like Hispanic and Latino have kicked up debates about identity, and it's raised questions about who is celebrated during Hispanic Heritage Month. Jesse Cohen has the answer.
From September 15th to October 15th every year, Americans celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America.
It's overall a celebration of just everyone's heritage, right? So where they come from, where they're at, whether they're here in the U.S. or come from other different countries.
So why do we call it National Hispanic Heritage Month? I asked Manuel Del Real, the executive director for HIS Initiatives and Inclusion at Metropolitan State University, Denver.
The term Hispanic, right, it's really the government term that was established in the census, right, in the 1980s, right? And so that's the term that, really we use in terms of all governmental associations.
He says technically that term, according to our government, is inclusive of Latinos, but the definition of it sure isn't. When you look up the definition of Hispanic, Oxford Languages says the noun is a Spanish-speaking person living in the U.S., especially one of Latin American descent. That excludes those from Caribbean, Central, and South American countries that speak other languages, like Brazil and Haiti.
That term Hispanic also is really just not inclusive of non-Spanish speaking countries, right? So that's where the term Latino now is being used to then incorporate, Portuguese and French. So a lot of the other countries as well that make up Central America.
The United States started this observation back in 1968. That's more than 50 years ago. Yet many who are supposed to be celebrated don't identify with the title of the holiday.
There's individuals that do feel like a disconnect, right? Because they're like, maybe I'm not Spanish enough or Hispanic enough or Latino enough. We really got to acknowledge that, this population is the second largest ethnic group in the nation, right? And so it's going to continue to grow.
When we're celebrating what we all call Hispanic Heritage Month, remember that it is so much more than just people who identify as Hispanic. I'm Jesse Cohen reporting.
One of the most high-profile jobs in the state belongs to the head coach of the Boise State football team. And for the first time in program history, a coach with Hispanic roots is at the helm. Andy Avalos is the one of only 7 head coaches in Division I college football, but also the first Hispanic and first minority head coach in BSU history. It's a moment that may have hit him hardest during his introductory press conference last year when he was told that a Hispanic family had already bought their season tickets because their young son saw the Avalos and told them that, quote, he looks like us. And as a new role model for young Treasure Valley Latinos, he has a message.
To trust yourself and surround yourself with the right people. And again, I think it's something different when you learn to compete, that no matter what it is you're going into, whether it's me or anybody else, you've got to learn how to compete from within first, and what you create inside and how you strengthen your mind and commitment to what it is that you're trying to get done and your relentless pursuit of trying to learn and grow.
Whether it's Hispanic Heritage Month or any other day of the year, Avalos proudly represents his roots with a lead-by-example approach, bringing in new fans along with the way from all different walks of life. Enrique's Mexican restaurant, formerly known as El Gallo Giro, opened its doors in 1998. Just a year later, the current owners were able to buy the restaurant. Today, it's become one of the most popular Mexican food restaurants in the Treasure Valley. Enrique's currently has hundreds coming in daily, but that wasn't always the case. When Enrique first bought the restaurant in 1999 from the previous owner, he struggled to get customers through the door. He gradually had more customers coming in daily, outgrowing their first location and transitioning to a much larger one just a few blocks down. And a lot of that is due to the family recipes.
Make us proud to be Mexican and for us to be able to share our culture with all types of races that come into the restaurant. It's not just, Caucasians, Mexicans coming in. We got all types of people coming in.
Despite recently having to lose half of their staff through the pandemic, dealing with supply chain shortages and inflation, they just adjust to keep sharing their Mexican family recipes with the Treasure Valley. The transition from childhood to womanhood is a major milestone in almost any culture. Many Hispanic people mark the occasion with the traditional celebration known as a quinceañera, or Sweet 15. Cristina Bautista shares the tradition and the history behind the quinceañera as the Idaho State Museum opens a new pop-up exhibit.
Childhood to womanhood. That time in a woman's life is celebrated and marked by the Hispanic community with the quinceañera. It isn't clear if the tradition started from the Spanish or the Aztecs, but till this day, the tradition is part of the Mexican, Central, and South American culture.
It wasn't until I did my confirmation where I was convinced that I wanted my quinceañera.
Traditionally, planning for a quinceañera takes months, if not years. The quinceañera starts her special day with Mass, typically at a Catholic church. Before the celebration, the quinceañera has to be baptized and held her first communion and confirmation. She is then allowed to receive a special blessing from the priest as she enters adulthood on her special day.
It's a one-in-a-lifetime event, and I want to live it. I want to see the experience. I want to see what everybody is talking about. And I prepared for several months for one special day, and honestly, I would do it all over again.
The milestone celebration typically costs anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000, depending on how extravagant it is. Many compare it to a wedding. The entire festivity is filled with joy and celebration throughout the day, sharing spiritual and emotional moments composed of several events that take place throughout the day. Leslie Macias wanted to share her special day and milestone by choosing to donate her quinceañera items to the Idaho State Museum.
So now we are able to better tell the story of the people of Idaho, so we're always looking for donations that better represent the people around us and the story of Idaho.
The first of its kind bilingual quinceañera pop-up exhibit in the Canyon Gallery will continue to showcase Leslie's items through Hispanic Heritage Month, allowing others to learn more about the tradition.
As a growing Latina, I've dealt with a lot of stuff, and it's nice to let the community know that, oh, we're here, this is us, we're strong, we're powerful, we're coming to you with all of this humility. And that's what I love about being Hispanic.
Christina Bautista, Idaho News 6.
Well, Hispanic culture would not be the same without food, plus the growing influence Latinas have in business. We look into it all after the break. Nearly 1 in 4 new businesses is Hispanic-owned, and the nearly 5 million Hispanic-owned businesses in the United States contribute more than $800 billion to the American economy each year. Our Christina Bautista spoke with a Latin business owner in Nampa who says her business is starting to take off with the help from the Idaho Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Latina-owned businesses are the largest growing segment in the business community in the United States, and in the Treasure Valley, that isn't any different.
Our Hispanic community is entrepreneurial in spirit. They want to make it. We want to find a way to bring our families forward, to create something, a legacy for our kids.
That was the case for small business owner Melinda Romero. She opened the doors in downtown Nampa before the pandemic, and like many, she struggled to keep her doors open while potential customers stayed at home. But that wasn't the only obstacle. Romero was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, making it very difficult to juggle it all.
I was already at that point of, I'm just going to walk away just because it's getting to be too much. I don't have extra money to hire staff. And so it's just me here all the time, or my daughter's here.
When she was ready to give up, Romero was approached by the Idaho Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. They were able to assist her with all the necessary resources for her to save her business, from loans, business plans, and just a friend to speak to when she most needed it.
I was like, well, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it was the best thing that I've ever done because Jose's been in my corner since day one.
Her shop, 1225, has gone through a few name changes, but recently had a ribbon cutting ceremony and has seen customers return and business take off. Romero says she hopes other Latina businesswomen recognize there is help available when times get tough.
That's what we're here for. We're here to provide that guidance. We're here to provide that support.
Christina Bautista, Idaho News 6.
Well, we continue to celebrate Hispanics' contributions, achievements, and history during Hispanic Heritage Month by sharing their stories and their work.
The Idaho's Commission of Hispanic Affairs and the Idaho Commissions for Libraries have partnered up to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month by showcasing a cookbook. The cookbook will highlight a variety of 31 Latinos in Idaho, one of each day of the month-long celebration, who are doing great things for society by sharing family recipes, like our very own Jake Garcia. The idea was sparked during the pandemic as a way to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month when gatherings weren't allowed.
And it's just kind of picked up steam now. Every year, we get just more and more people interested in saying, oh, we love hearing these recipes and we love trying these recipes during Hispanic Heritage Month.
Recipes will be shared daily on Idaho's Commission of Hispanic Affairs Facebook page and Twitter pages.
Our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month continues in Spanish.
Cuando regresemos, como una nativa de Idaho, es nombrada una de las 10 mujeres más influyentes de Idaho. Más al regresar. Un grupo de mujeres jóvenes continúa un deporte ecuestre tradicional mexicano aquí en Idaho. El deporte es escaramuza charrería y el equipo de 8 va por el nombre Reinas del Valle. El equipo de mujeres compite contra otros equipos femeninos. Ahora son las primeras en el estado en calificar al campeonato nacional en México. Desafortunadamente, ningún equipo de los Estados Unidos puede llevar sus propios caballos a la competición en México. Pero a pesar de todo, están emocionadas por representar el estado.
No
hemos escuchado mucho sobre Idaho en México. No hay mucho de Idaho o Utah. Realmente no escuchamos, así que estoy muy emocionada de que seamos el primer equipo que representa a Idaho. Al final del mes están listas para competir en México, donde se enfrentarán a cientos de equipos. Mientras cada cultura puede tener diferencias, hay una cosa que muchas tienen en común: el baile. Un grupo de bailarines celebra el mes de la herencia hispana durante todo el año, bailando su cultura tradicional. Bailar es conocido como un lenguaje universal para muchos, pero para los bailarines folclóricos de Oyamel, el bailar folclórico es una manera de conservar su cultura. El folclórico se retrocede a danzas ceremoniales y sociales de los pueblos indígenas que viven en México. La mayoría de estos bailarines son estadounidenses de primera generación y soportan dificultades y cambios a lo largo de sus vidas, como las mariposas. Me gusta bailar porque es parte de mi cultura y mi mamá lo hacía, así que sigo sus pasos. Para estos bailarines, el bailar es un evento social que une amigos y familiares en una conexión emocional con la música y las tradiciones de sus antepasados. El restaurante mexicano Enríquez, conocido formalmente como El Gallo Giro, abrió sus puertas en 1998. Solo un año después, los actuales dueños compraron el restaurante. Hoy se convirtió en uno de los restaurantes más populares de comida mexicana en el Valle del Tesoro. Enríquez actualmente tiene cientos que llegan diariamente, pero eso no siempre fue el caso. Cuando Enríquez compró el restaurante por primera vez en el 1999, del propietario anterior luchaba por conseguir clientes a través de la puerta. Gradualmente tuvo más clientes llegando diariamente, superando su primer ubicación y cambiando a una ubicación mucho más grande a pocas cuadras más allá, y mucho de eso se debe a sus recetas familiares. Nos enorgullece ser mexicanos y poder compartir nuestras culturas con todo tipo de razas que entran al restaurante. No nomás son americanos y mexicanos, todo tipo de personas entran. A pesar de haber perdido recientemente la mitad de su personal a causa de la pandemia y lidiando con la cadena de suministros y la inflación, siguen compartiendo sus recetas familiares. En el 2020, USA Today conmemoró el derecho legal de voto de las mujeres, nombrando a 10 mujeres estadounidenses de los 50 estados que hicieron una contribución significante a sus respectivos estados y condados como mujeres del siglo. Mientras continuamos celebrando el mes de la herencia hispana, una de las nombradas fue Cecilia Violeta López. Cecilia Violeta López no solo fue nombrada como una de las 10 mujeres más influyentes de Idaho, pero también ha sido nombrada una de las 25 estrellas en ascenso de ópera.
It's kind of surreal, actually, or I read it and I don't believe it, or I read it and I think, it's a different Cecilia. I really don't think it's me because I don't think I'm anyone special, really. I grew up in Idaho.
Antes de su comienzo en ópera, López creció en Rupert, Idaho, donde creció trabajando en el campo con sus padres. A la pequeña edad de 10 años obtuvo su primer cheque trabajando en el campo. Ella recuerda a su mamá cantando en el campo y convenciéndola de cantar cada oportunidad que tenía.
It's just my mom. I was like, mira, un mariachi, corre, canta esta. I'm like, oh, okay. And I would reluctantly go. I would never want to go, but my mom would be vamos. Sometimes me llevaba de la mano. She'd take me by the hand.
No fue hasta que López estaba en la universidad que asistió a su primera ópera y se sorprendió con la función. Eso despegó su interés en convertirse en cantante de ópera.
How they projected their voices over the orchestra, how they told this story, how they did all of that, and how they made me feel like I tell this story, and it's just because it's such a vivid memory. It makes me get goosebumps still to this day. But yo salí con la piel de gallina, and I thought that is what I want to do.
Cecilia continúa actuando y cantando en múltiples teatros de ópera. Mientras se obtiene ocupada continuando viajando por su trabajo, ha hecho tiempo para devolver al lugar donde nació. Recientemente aceptó 2 nuevas posiciones en Idaho. Fue nombrada como la primera asesora artística de Opera Idaho y este otoño también tomó un puesto en la Universidad de Boise como profesora de canto. López reconoce fuertemente que su éxito es producto del sacrificio de sus padres para emigrar a los Estados Unidos.
I'm proud to be able to represent both.
Dia de los Muertos is right around the corner, and there are some ways that you can celebrate around the Treasure Valley. On October 23rd, the Idaho State Museum is showing the movie Coco at 12:30 in English and 2:30 in Spanish. Admission is $5. On October 26th, the museum is having an Ofrenda workshop from 6 to 7 p.m. Admission is free, but donations are encouraged. Then in downtown Boise at Jack's Urban Meeting Place or Jump, it's having a Day of the Dead celebration November 2nd, starting at 5 p.m.
El Día de los Muertos está a la vuelta de la esquina y hay algunas maneras de celebrar alrededor del Valle del Tesoro. El 23 de octubre, el Museo del Estado de Idaho proyectará la película Coco a las 12:30 en inglés y a las 12:30 en español. La entrada es de $5. El 26 de octubre, el museo tendrá un taller de ofrenda de 6 a 7 p.m. La entrada es gratuita, pero se aceptan donaciones. Luego, en Jump, en el centro de Boise, se celebrará el Día de los Muertos el 2 de noviembre a partir de las 5 p.m.
Well, that does it for our special program honoring and celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm Jake Garcia along with Christina Bautista. Thanks for watching. Hasta luego.